In this video, I'm going to explain to you how to make your Types of Clouds project. This is a fun project to do at home that will only take you about an hour total to do. However, in order to bring it into school completely dry, you do need to give yourself 3 days at home. On the first day, you'll spend about 30 minutes gluing down the different cottons to make your different clouds, and then you need to let that dry for a day. On your second day, you'll come back and add the gray paint to your stratus and cumulonimbus clouds so they look like storm clouds. Then you'll want to give it one full day at home to completely and totally dry. And then on that fourth day in the morning, it'll be ready to bring into school. Your bag has everything you need to complete this project. So let's go through the materials in there. You first have a thick piece of blue paper, blue to make our sky, that has the names of the 4 types of clouds on it: cumulus, stratus, cirrus, and cumulonimbus. You also have 2 bags of types of cotton to make your clouds with. Cotton balls are going to be used for our cumulus and cumulonimbus clouds, and then you'll use the quilt batting to make the stratus and cirrus clouds. You also have a bottle of liquid glue, and if there's some left when you're done with your project, we do ask for you to bring that back to school and return it to us. The washable glue on the left, if you have that type from Crayola, you'll want to completely unscrew the cap altogether and pull it off, and then the glue underneath has like a little needle that you squeeze it to have it come out. If you have the kind on the right, Elmer's glue, then for this glue, you don't have to take the cap, the orange cap off the top. You just have to unscrew it a little bit and the glue will flow through a little hole at the top of it. You also have a container of gray paint and a paintbrush to use to paint with. For this, it is important to notice that this is acrylic paint, and so it may stain. So before you start doing any painting on your second day with this, you'll want to make sure that you're wearing old clothes because the paint could stain your clothes. And also make sure that wherever you're working, you cover it with something like some paper towels, cardboard box, some rags, whatever you've got handy just to protect that surface so that we don't leave any stains. I also wouldn't recommend doing this on a carpeted area where any drips of paint might stay in the carpet. I would do it over something that's a hard surface like tiles or a wooden floor. As you get started on this project, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and write your name, and do that before you start putting anything on it or gluing anything. It's much easier to do it first. So go ahead and write that at the top in the middle. And then now you're ready to go ahead and add your cotton. Your first step will be to go ahead and make your cumulus cloud in that top left corner. Our cumulus cloud is a white, fluffy pile that means sunny, fair weather. So we're going to use our cotton balls to make our cumulus cloud. So go ahead and pull out about 7 of them, and you'll want to go ahead and put the glue onto the paper first. So go ahead and squeeze some glue out, a pretty generous amount, and then you're going to go ahead and arrange those cotton balls, making sure that glue touches each cotton ball, and go ahead and squeeze them together to make one cloud. There's our cumulus cloud. The other cloud that's kind of puffy is our cumulonimbus cloud. So the next cloud you're going to make in the bottom right-hand corner of your paper, and in that section you're going to glue down your cumulus cloud. Cumulus clouds are dark gray, and they also have that anvil shape where they're flat on the top, flat on the bottom, and then they kind of curve in on the sides. These are the ones that cause thunderstorms and heavy precipitation. So we're going to have to come back later and go ahead and add gray paint to the cumulonimbus cloud to make it look like a storm cloud. Today, though, you'll go ahead and make your cotton balls. And again, to make that anvil shape, you'll want to have more cotton balls on the top, more cotton balls on the bottom, and then kind of a middle row there that has fewer cotton balls. And again, you want to put plenty of glue down and squeeze it all together. Make sure that every cotton ball has some glue on it, and it makes your cumulonimbus cloud. Now we're going to move to the top right corner of your paper, and you're going to make your cirrus clouds. These are the very thin, feathery, wispy clouds that mean we have a change in weather. When you see cirrus clouds in the sky, it means that you have wind, and that wind is blowing in some type of change in weather. So if it's warm today, it's going to be cold tomorrow. If it's cold today, it's going to be warm tomorrow. The wind is blowing in a change in weather. So these are very thin, feathery, and wispy. So when you make these, you want to use a very small amount of that quilt batting, and you want to stretch it out so it's really, 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 really thin. So these cirrus clouds are white. They're not going to be painted gray, and they get stretched out as far as you possibly can. And you can see that they're kind of this feathery shape, so they sort of like curve. Sailors used to call them mare's tails, like a pony or a horse's tail. So it's got like kind of that curve at the edge. So see what you can do for arranging that. Make it as thin as possible. And I would put your lines of glue to kind of make your shapes of like little feathery swirls, and then go ahead and glue that down. You really do not need very much cotton at all for that one. The last type of cloud is in our bottom left corner, and that is our stratus cloud. This is your thick gray blanket. So you want to completely and totally cover that space. Try to leave the word stratus cloud so we can still read that, but go ahead and cover the rest of that space with your gray quilt batting. That's going to cause a light drizzle. So we're going to lay the whole thing down, use the rest of your glue and spread it out. You might even want to use your foam brush to kind of get the whole space completely covered with glue. And then go ahead and put down the rest of your quilt batting and stretch that out. That one probably, it might take a couple layers of glue to kind of dry and stick out and stretch out for the stratus cloud. So that's your first day to make all of those. 4 clouds, and then go ahead and allow that glue to completely dry overnight before you try to add the gray paint. On the next day, you're going to come back to it and go ahead and paint your cumulonimbus and stratus clouds gray. So again, make sure on this step you are protecting your surface and you're wearing old clothes as you go through and paint it. And then you just dip your foam brush in there and add as much gray paint as you have onto your 2 clouds. And then you can go ahead and throw away the container that the paint is in. You can also rinse out and keep your foam brush. I don't need it back from you. Then your third step is to just let the paint dry completely for 1 day. So leave it somewhere in your house where it's going to be undisturbed for a full day, so that all the cotton balls are all stuck and the glue is hardened and the paint is dry, so we don't have paint being transported, wet paint coming back and forth to school staining things. And then after it's completely dry, you can bring it in and we are going to put it on display and celebrate your knowledge of your 4 types of clouds.